James Buchanan, born on April 23, 1791, in Cove Gap, Pennsylvania, was the 15th President of the United States. He came from a well-established family of Scottish-Irish descent. Buchanan attended Dickinson College and later studied law in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. His legal career would become a foundation for his future political endeavors. Buchanan's political career began in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and he later served in the U.S. House of Representatives. He also held the position of U.S. Minister to Russia under President Andrew Jackson and later served as Minister to the United Kingdom under President James Polk. His experience in diplomacy would shape his approach to foreign affairs as president. In the presidential election of 1856, James Buchanan ran as the Democratic Party's candidate. His nomination was partly based on his reputation as a moderate and experienced diplomat. John Fremont, the first Republican Party candidate, and Millard Fillmore, the candidate for the American Party, the Know-Nothings. Buchanan won the election and assumed the presidency in 1857. Buchanan's presidency, which lasted from 1857 to 1861, was marked by several significant events and challenges. One of the most controversial events of Buchanan's presidency was the Supreme Court's Dred Scott decision in 1857. The decision held that African Americans, whether enslaved or free, could not be considered citizens and had no rights under the U.S. Constitution. Buchanan supported the ruling, further inflaming tensions over slavery. Buchanan struggled to address the conflict in the Kansas Territory, which was torn by violent clashes between pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers. His support for the pro-slavery Lecompton Constitution and his subsequent recognition of Kansas as a slave state led to widespread criticism and opposition. The Panic of 1857, a financial crisis, occurred during Buchanan's presidency. His response was limited, as he held a belief in laissez-faire economics and was hesitant to intervene, which led to criticism for his handling of the crisis. James Buchanan's presidency was marked by growing tensions between the North and South over issues such as slavery and states' rights. His attempts to ease these tensions often exacerbated the conflicts, and his perceived inaction in the face of crisis contributed to the lead-up to the American Civil War. After leaving office, Buchanan retired to Wheatland, his estate in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He lived through the early years of the Civil War but did not publicly comment on the conflict. He passed away on June 1, 1868. James Buchanan's presidency is often remembered for the challenges of his time and his perceived inability to address the pressing issues of the day. His presidency is closely associated with the worsening sectional tensions that culminated in the American Civil War. Buchanan's approach to issues such as slavery and economic crises remains a subject of historical debate. Buchanan's legacy is marked by his connection to various historical sites and institutions, including the James Buchanan Foundation for the Preservation of Wheatland, dedicated to the preservation of his former home. James Buchanan's presidency is often analyzed within the context of the pre-Civil War era, with his perceived indecisiveness and handling of sectional issues contributing to the volatile political climate that ultimately led to the outbreak of the American Civil War.